I'm sorry, Clayton, my hands are shaking. This is something that I got in my house, okay? I'm gonna read it for you.
Ooh, Jasmine got a letter sent to her home, and she claims it incriminates Gino. Wow, this tell-all gets juicier by the second. But is a crazy letter really supposed to be taken at face value? Or does Jasmine just get off on constantly making her husband look like a bad guy?
Here's my panties that he took off that night. I haven't touched it, and it was in the envelope. This.
Ew!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
What is it? Yeah.
What the actual f***? Now, is there any truth to this? Is this proof that Gino's been cheating on Jasmine? Well, before we dive into this letter and these pretty shocking accusations, let's just rewind to the start. So, the last we saw Jasmine, she was having a meltdown after seeing footage of Gino's bachelor party. And while it's clearly not a nice thing to see, does it really warrant this?
He never hugged me that way! He never hugged me that way! Never!
Yeah, I think we can all agree that this is a massive overreaction. Jasmine's in full-on Jasmine mode. She's losing all control of her emotions backstage, while Nikki, her new BFF, desperately tries to comfort her. And while initially the cast all ask Gino why he isn't going backstage to comfort her, it soon becomes obvious that Jasmine's just way too far gone. She probably just needs to be left alone.
But are you not upset that she's so upset? Like, does that not upset you?
Yeah, but she doesn't have to be so upset like that.
So on one side, Gino's got his wife screaming, and on the other side, he's got all the cast judging him. But I think it says a lot that he's still staying strong. He's determined to stand his ground. In his eyes, he did nothing wrong while enjoying his bachelor party. He just thinks that, yet again, Jasmine is overreacting, as always. And while that may be true, we soon learn that Jasmine isn't only crying about the stripper incident. She seems to be crying about her relationship.
He never look at me this way, Nikki. He never look at me. He never makes love to me. He doesn't love me. He's not attracted to me, Nick.
The footage of Gino having a great time at his bachelor party seems to have triggered Jasmine mainly because of her non-existent sex life with Gino. Now, even though Gino's defended himself, saying over and over again that his attraction to Jasmine disappears when she's verbally abusive, unfortunately, it seems to have fallen on deaf ears. And once again, Jasmine is making herself the victim here.
Why doesn't he get up and come over here and console his wife? Like, I don't understand.
I don't want him here.
So while Jasmine riles herself up again, Sean says that they're going to give her some space and move on. Sean now turns to ask the stripper, Daisy, who was actually at the bachelor party, another question. She asks her, how would you describe Gino's general demeanour at the club that night?
You could just tell he was a little bit weary about being at the club.
I wonder why.
Would you?
Because I really didn't want to upset Jasmine.
Daisy goes on to say that Gino and his family were all tame and respectful, but Jasmine's not there to hear it. And honestly, I don't think she'd be interested in hearing it because it simply doesn't fit her narrative. She seems determined to show the world that Gino somehow mistreats her. But it's at this point that Gino shares something that gives us a bit of insight into why Jasmine may be acting this way.
It affects Jasmine greatly. Maybe because my ex did this kind of thing.
Oh.
Worked at a club.
Oh, your ex worked at a strip club?
Correct.
Okay.
And she knows that.
That makes sense.
Now, the ex in question wasn't his ex-wife, it was an ex-girlfriend. This is the first time we're hearing about her, and frankly, the conversation moves on way too quickly. Ashley takes centre stage and says the lack of sex in Gino and Jasmine's relationship must be a huge contributing factor to why Jasmine's overreacting. And once again, Gino is forced to try and defend himself.
All the hurtful things that have been said to me, and it's not just once, this happens over and over, it's a cycle, it keeps happening. Doesn't end.
We've seen it.
So even though all of the cast were judging Gino about not running backstage to comfort his wife, Jasmine has now been screaming backstage for so long that everyone can get a taste of what Gino has to go through, seemingly on a daily basis. And as a result, they all seem to have changed their tune a little bit. So what is it that Jasmine is saying or threatening now?
This is the last straw. This is it. This is it. I'm done. I'm done. You know, I can't forgive you. You know me, I'm traumatized.
Now, it's at this point that Jasmine lifts the bottle of water to her lips, but she's shaking uncontrollably. It's all very dramatic. Dare I say it, too dramatic. It seems very exaggerated, and the second she starts drinking, her shaking miraculously seems under control again. I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying it. But, magically, that bottle of water appears to be exactly what Jasmine needed, because she now regains composure and goes back out to the stage.
Sorry, Sean. I'm very sorry.
No, I'm sorry that you're hurting
I feel
so
very
much.
embarrassed. You know that I do respect you so much. I didn't mean to walk like that. I just couldn't take what I was watching.
Jasmine walks back on stage with a soft voice and she apologises to Sean. She plays the role of victim so well that it's almost impressive at this point. When Sean asks her if she's okay, she says she feels much better now and she thanks Nikki for being there to comfort her. But as if she hasn't already been dramatic enough for today, she then casually says this.
I was having a panic attack back there, and she was an anxiety attack. Nikki was comforting me, and I had my moment.
It's not that I'm overreacting, it's not that I can't control my emotions. Oh no, I'm having a fully fledged panic or anxiety attack, she wants us to believe. Look, I'm by no means a doctor, but that didn't seem like a panic attack or an anxiety attack to me. That just seemed like a temper tantrum. I think once again, Jasmine is guilty of exaggerating here. She's trying to frame the narrative in a way that paints her out to be a victim. And that continues when next she turns to Daisy and says this, again as a way of trying to justify her behaviour.
He had never looked at me or complimented me as his wife the way he did to you. And that's what hurts me.
I don't even know what Jasmine is talking about here, and it just shows that she lives in a different world to the rest of us. We've literally seen Gino compliment his wife endlessly.
You're beautiful the way you are. Don't you see? You're beautiful. Wow. You look stunning, like a queen. Baby, look at you. That dress is amazing. You look so hot. Wow, look at that booty.
Be gentle.
Wow.
Sorry, Jasmine, but regardless of what she says, there are plenty of examples of Gino complimenting and praising her. So all this proves is Gino can't win. He just can't win in an argument with her.
Gino was not complimenting me at all.
He was hugging you, and there were many moments in which you were rubbing your chest against him.
This is all just becoming meaningless. Why does it even matter? As far as the footage that we saw, who cares that Gino gave one of the strippers a hug? Like, what's Jasmine's point here? And why is she being a stickler to this fact? Well, you see, Jasmine then goes on to make the biggest leap of the century. She tries to connect Daisy to that mysterious lip gloss found in Gino's car.
It happened the night before my trip to the United States. So the days after that, I found a lip gloss.
Okay.
That lip gloss was fresh.
Daisy practically has a smile on her face as she clarifies to Jasmine that no, that lip gloss wasn't hers. She's almost laughing at how ridiculous that accusation is. Now, Sean then asks Daisy if there's anything she wants to say to Jasmine. And all Daisy wants to say is she wants to reassure Jasmine that Gino was absolutely fine at the party. She tells Jasmine that Gino clearly loves her. He wasn't interested in any of the strippers that night.
I disagree with that part, that Gino loving me and all that. Don't take him, he being awkward as he not liking you.
This is precisely what I mean when I say Gino will never win in a fight against Jasmine. According to Jasmine, Gino's awkwardness at the bachelor party apparently means that he liked the strippers. So the guy is doomed if he does and doomed if he doesn't. There's no way he can win. And it's at this point that Sean realises they're just going round in circles. She tells everyone to take a break. And as the cast all walk away, Jasmine can't resist the temptation to shoot one last parting shot at Gino.
You know that this is it, Gino, right?
What's that?
You crossed the line. You crossed the line, Gino.
So Jasmine's allowed to get money from her ex for butt implants, but the line in their relationship is Gino going to a strip club for his bachelor party, being forced on stage and being made to awkwardly sit there as they dance with him for 10 minutes. The thing is, Gino still isn't willing to accept this. He tells Jasmine he doesn't think he did, and it's good to see him standing up for himself. He's clearly had enough of Jasmine today, so he walks off, leaving Jasmine all alone.
And the problem is it's like a cycle and it keeps happening and it never stops.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Like, you know, she's guilty of doing some stuff herself.
It's interesting how all of the cast now seem to be backing Gino. Sam says he can't even imagine what Gino has to go through every day. The eggshells he must walk on, desperately trying to not start another fight. And Rob's the same. Rob's been supporting Gino throughout this segment. Even Sophie becomes empathetic to Gino's cause. She's particularly empathetic when it comes to Jasmine constantly bringing up her ex, Dane.
If Rob was constantly bringing up his ex, I would feel like there's something there, and I can get why you feel like you don't want to be intimate with her, because you probably have these thoughts of like, what if I'm not as good as her ex, you know?
And while Gino claims that it's the verbal abuse that's a turn-off, I think there's more truth to what Sophie's saying than he's ready to admit. Now, there is one person who's on Jasmine's side, and that's Nikki. Nikki says that she understands where Jasmine's coming from, and that's hardly a surprise given that Nikki also goes from 0 to 1,000 in the same way that Jasmine does. And speaking of Jasmine, when she returns to the group, she dramatically announces that she has something to share with them all.
I'm sorry, Clayton, my hands are shaking. This is something that I got in my house, okay? I'm gonna read it for you.
Her fake shaking is back. But miraculously, the second she passes her purse to Clayton, her hand stops shaking again. It's getting embarrassing at this point. Now, Jasmine pulls out a parcel with a letter in it, and she claims that this letter was delivered to her doorstep. And it's at this point that she begins to read the letter.
Gino and I had so much fun at the bachelor's party. Sorry for the lip gloss. You can keep it, but it won't look as good on you.
I mean, this may explain why Jasmine started linking Daisy to the lip gloss in the car. But it's obvious, almost immediately obvious, that this letter was sent by a troll. Some weird fan with too much time on their hands who probably wants to make Jasmine feel like especially with what else they've put in that package.
Here's my panties that he took off that night. I haven't touched it, and it was in the envelope. This.
Ew!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
What is it? Yeah.
Ew, indeed. I mean, the sender felt the need to send a worn pair of panties alongside the letter. So, as if it wasn't obvious before, surely we can all now accept that this must have been sent by a crazy fan. But Jasmine's trying to use this to validate her crazy overreaction. And to be honest, I feel personally insulted that she thinks we're all dumb enough to buy this crap.
So it's not like, oh, crazy Jasmine, overreacting.
I would normally help you, but I'm not going to.
I received this in my front door.
Sorry, Jasmine, but you've taken what's clearly crazy fan mail and you're desperately trying to use that as a way of justifying this crusade that you're on. She's desperately trying to make Gino out to look like a terrible guy. Only the thing is, the exact opposite seems to be happening. This is just making her look more unhinged. Now, Rob is the first to say what the entire room is thinking, which is this is in fact nothing. This doesn't incriminate Gino in any way.
I would say that it's some up person. And the fact that it was a typed letter makes me feel like whoever did it didn't want you to figure out who it was.
Everyone can see it, and Jasmine should feel so embarrassed that she's even trying to make this a thing. Like, not only has she now given ammunition to other trolls, given them a clear sign that what they send her will directly impact their relationship, but she's also shown us she's going out of her way to try and humiliate her husband. She's making this a big deal when it's clearly not true.
None of this is true. I knew what she had because I seen it before myself, but I can't believe that she even showed that or was trying to suggest that I was with this person.
Can you just imagine the explosive fight that must have happened when Jasmine received that package? Now, the thing is, I don't think Jasmine herself believes this. I mean, if she did, if she truly thought it was real, would she still be with Gino? Would she have come to the tell-all arm in arm with him? I don't think she would. So the fact that she probably doesn't believe it herself, yet still she brought the package along just to humiliate Gino, really says a lot about her desire for screen time and her desire to paint out Gino in the worst possible light. And much to Jasmine's dismay, none of the other cast are buying what she has to say.
I know, Jasmine, but you gotta be stronger because you should know that he loves you.
Even Nikki, Jasmine's new BFF, is trying to tell her to get a grip, to trust that her husband loves her after all that he's done for her. Thankfully, dropping a stranger's pair of soiled panties on the floor was the line even for Nikki. But the truth is, without intense therapy, it's not gonna be easy for Jasmine to just be stronger.
Gino has a history of not taking accountability of the actions that really hurt me, and I don't wanna be seen as a crazy person.
After all the drama of this tell-all, all the screaming and crying, it's never been clearer just how badly, how desperately Jasmine needs professional help. If she doesn't seek that out, and seek that out urgently, then I think this marriage is doomed. And let's not forget, these two plan to bring a baby into the mix.